Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another rousing rendition of what we like to call the BREADren podcast. And we're back with I guess, I don't know, this might be just a slice, this might be a cocktail combo, I'm not sure. But I have been demanded to relinquish my moderating slash hosting duties. And I will graciously pass it over to my brother and fellow co-host, Mr. Destrian Wells, because he has bullied me into doing this. So we will see how this goes. But I don't know whether I'm supposed to continue at this point or should I just pass over to you. So I'm just gonna pass it to you, bro. This is I'm passing it on to Mr. Wells at this point.
I think a couple of things needs to happen. First of all, number one, this is workplace behavior violation 101. And so you're not going to say that I'm bullying you. A summons and a demand are two different things. The difference for ladies and gentlemen, a summons is a request. A demand is a statement of fact that you have to do something. I requested your presence to talk about something that I think is of extreme importance. And it's something that you've been doing for a few years. And I just wanted to really and bring light to it, man, because I think it's super dope that you do it. I missed out on it with you this year, but in the years going forward, I don't want to miss it. But um, for our avid listeners, they know how you feel about supporting culture, being a culture carrier, the fact that you're creative, the fact that you have all these nuances and these diverse things that you do in terms of your passion. You do such a great job bringing to life who your co-hosts are in terms of myself, Alicia, and Doc. I don't think we talk enough about who you are. And so I wanted to take this opportunity for one of the dopest things that you do, again, on an annual basis. I want you to talk. Why was it important to you and what connected you to the idea or the spirit of saying, hey, you know what? Not only do I want to take a trip to the motherland each year, but then developing a team of people where you're like, I'm going to take a group of people from my alma mater and I'm going to explore the motherland and experience this with them. So talk to me a little bit about that, bro.
Yeah. So first, let me say, my apologies for misunderstanding the difference between a requisition and a and a demand.
And
Um,
an acquisition.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, requisition and acquisition.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, uh, I kind of alluded to, I've been a travel agent, on the side for I think maybe like 12 years at this point, something like that. And I I made it my business to explore. Once I found out how affordable it was to travel, growing up, you kind of have this idea that, traveling the globe is only something that, the rich or the wealthy can do. Especially when you grow up and you see movies like Home Alone and, the parents are in first class and they taking like 12 people. You're like, this gotta cost a lot of money. But once I got into the industry and I, realized that it was affordable, one of my main goals was to make sure that people that look like us understood that like you can go to Paris, you can go to London, you can go to Africa, you can go to
Portugal.
China, Portugal, Spain, you can go around the
Yeah.
globe, um, and not have to be rich to do it. It's very affordable, and there's ways to make it even more affordable and even more accessible because we always talk about access here on the podcast.
Right.
Um, and so that was, that's one of my main goals, just exposing people to the possibilities and the access that comes with traveling. Um, and so, for the past 10 to 12 years, every year annually, I made it my business to take me personally, my family, my wife and my child on an international trip. So we've been to Paris, we've been to Spain, we've been to Amsterdam, we've been to Portugal, um, and I grew up watching Rick Steves travel, which is it was him traveling around Europe. So, I became fascinated with just seeing that and watching Travel Channel with my pops growing up and seeing Europe. And the images of Europe were always something that were, very mesmerizing, for lack of a better term. But the images that we normally see of Africa aren't that. You know what I'm saying? We see the most beautiful thing that we probably see about Africa on a normal occurrence is probably, the jungle, the safaris, and all of that. But in terms of everything else, we don't really get to see the real truth of what Africa looks like. And so, like I said, I've done a couple of trips to Europe, and I really just basically got to a point where like, okay, I've seen in enough of it at this point to where I want to go. I want to try another continent. Um, and I had an opportunity a while back that I missed. Was We had a chance to visit Morocco, but I waited too late because we went to Spain, and we had a chance to visit Gibraltar, which is in between Morocco and the bottom of Spain. But I missed the window to book in order for us to take the ferry over to Morocco. So that would have been my first introduction into into Africa, but I missed that. So um, and so I made it my business to, okay, I'm going to visit Africa. I didn't know where, I didn't know which country, um, and so I just kind of let it come to me. And maybe like the past year, I went into maybe like the past year and a half, I went down a rabbit hole of really kind of jumping in and reading and studying Booker T. Washington a little bit more, going through his letters, and going through, fully actually reading Up from Slavery. I know it's something that we're required to do at Ski, um, but Cliff Notes and things of that nature. But I actually took time, sat down, listened to it, read it, um, and then going through his papers, which is a collection of all of the letters back and forth and correspondence between him and others. And then finding out stuff like I found out that he had a summer home literally not too far from where I am currently in New York. And so this snowballed into more and more just digging into it. And then I found out that there's a very deep connection between the continent of Africa and Tuskegee University and different countries in Africa, South Africa being one of them, Togo being another, um, Ghana, Liberia. There's several countries in Africa that have very direct connections with Tuskegee. Like I said, South Africa was one. And then, through my travel research, prices basically, and timing, um, Cape Town, South Africa popped up as being number one affordable. The timeline fit, and there was a connection with Tuskegee. And when I saw the picture of Cape Town, it was the same feeling that I felt when I saw the picture of Lisbon, when I saw the picture of Malaga, Spain, where it's just like this tropical kind of vibe. You see
I
the
gotta be
ocean.
there.
I
You
yeah,
got the.
I gotta go
I
see
gotta
it.
be there. Yeah,
Um, and so that's basically what it was. The opportunity presented itself, and I was like, I gotta take it. And every year when it's time for us to take our international trip, I go and I'll research two or three places that fall within our budget, and then I give it to Shan, and I say, pick one. And this one, it was a no-brainer because it's like, so we got an opportunity to go to the motherland.
yeah. We
No-brainer, we're
do.
gonna do that. So everybody was on board. So we went last year, completely fell in love with the beauty, the people, the feeling, and it's something that's, I've mentioned it to you. It's spiritual, and so the second
I was
time
gonna.
around,
I was actually gonna bring that up, AJ. I was gonna ask you, man. Like, for you to go back and you to make it an annual thing, what is it that attracts you to coming back? And a lot of times we go places and we experience them for the first time. It's like, hey, this was good, but I'm good. For you to go back, for you to take your family back, you to take your daughter, but then a group. What is it about Cape Town specifically that pulls you in that way?
so Cape Town, I don't know if what expectations I had the first time. I don't really know what expectations I had. I can't recall any expectations. I just know the pictures that I saw, and it's a very modern looking city through pictures. So I was like, number one, cool. Um, but Cape Town itself, they call it the mother city. It is a very international city, meaning it has an influx of people that are not from there too. it puts you in the mind of a large metro. It is a large metro area, but it puts you in the mind of like a New York, uh, an LA, a Miami, and Atlanta because it has a very large central business downtown area that's full of tall buildings and banking and businesses and things of that nature. And then literally 5 minutes to your left is the ocean and two of the top 10 beaches in the world. And to your right is Table Mountain, which is one of the seven natural wonders of the world. So it's like you just you get there and you just everybody immediately says welcome home. That's what really did it for me. Like I said, I've been to a couple of other countries and nobody ever told me welcome home. Even coming back to America, I don't think anybody's ever told me welcome home in
And
customs. But
if AJ, if I may, I think we resonate with that so much because of the HBCU culture. It doesn't matter what HBCU you go to, you're part of a big cookout or backyard barbecue where as long as you did, right? And so there's been a lot of conversation over I would say the course of the past 5 to 10 years around relations between people that are from the motherland and Black Americans that reside in the States. I don't hear any of that from your exploration or the group that went over. It seems very welcoming and very kind. So can you debunk any of that for us too?
100%. 100%. I will, I can, and I will continue to do it. And that's one of the key reasons on why I wanted to bring more people with me. I literally told you and I told others, I was like, this was just me inviting everybody to come on our family trip because we were going back regardless. Like this is one of the first places and currently the only place that myself, my wife, and my child are both like, we can't wait to come back. We want to go back. We miss this place. There's not like I don't have this longing feeling of having to return to Paris or having to return to Amsterdam. Cool spots, great places to visit, but I don't have this feeling in my gut like I got to get back over there. I have and had that feeling with Cape Town. And I was able to this time around even more so have actual conversations with people that live there. Some of them from there, some of them have been living in Cape Town for, 15, 20 plus years. Um, and, born and bred Africans. And we have that conversation of, we thought y'all didn't like us and they thought that we didn't like them too. And it was, it's number one, probably lost in translation. Number two, it's not enough intermingling of us to have the conversation to find out if it's actually true. It's just something we heard because somebody else said or they said. And when you actually sit down and have the conversation, it's like, oh, well, I never said that, and you never said that. So who said it? And it was never true to begin with. Now, obviously, we can find isolated incidents and things of that nature where it may apply, but for the vast majority of the people, 98% of the people that we encountered on a daily basis now, this is from the people that worked in our hotel to the people that braided hair to our tour guides to the people that worked at the restaurants that we visited, we got nothing but love and the joy and uh, and happiness that we saw on people's faces that looked like us when they saw a group of us, Black Americans, Black folks in general, coming in. It was something that was like, I want this feeling to continue and I don't ever want it to stop. And so
So
for
it
me,
sounds
that's really what it was.
it sounds like a experience has been created, and I wouldn't necessarily call it an aura, but there's a vibe that you want to create and have, and you've kind of figured out a way to have that from an international standpoint. But I guess one of the things that I would want to do, it takes true connectivity, and we talk a lot about the human element on the podcast. Are there any businesses or people that you want to shout out or give credence to for making sure that when you arrive and when you land, that there's nothing for you to think about, and it's love when you get there and you genuinely know that these are good people, because I would love for other folks to connect with them and leverage their services as well.
Number one and automatic on the top of that list is my cousin, and I call him my cousin now because I literally trusted this man with my life, the life of my family, and the life of everybody that came with us. We trusted him, and it was nothing but above the board business practice. Um, and that's my brother Tingo, who is the owner and proprietor of Santa Cruz Tours. If you are ever in Cape Town or Johannesburg or the surrounding area, you would be doing yourself a disservice not to reach out to him, even if it's for a couple of hours tour or just to have a conversation. Because when I tell you the man and his team are knowledgeable, they are they educate you on more than just the touristy things. Like, and that's one of the things that me and him talked about. You can go on a tour in all of these in any city you go to, you can go on a tour and you'll have somebody walk around and just basically read off of a cue card to you. Here to your left, you will see this statue. Here to your right, you will see this structure. It was built in this year, and this is the year that it was renovated. And it's a major attraction here in this city. Blah 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 blah. But for somebody to take the time and educate you on why things are a certain way, why the businesses close at a certain time, and to really get into the meat and potatoes, as some folks call it, of to why the city, the economy, and everything works and runs and looks
Right.
the way that it does, is completely eye-opening, especially for us coming in as Black Americans to help understand why, certain people may act a certain way when we come into the room or something. Is like, well, this is why. Oh, this is
And,
why you see this interaction taking place like that, and being able, and it's one of those things we talk about too, of being a good steward. And one of the
right,
things is being a good steward of your access, because we have the ability to go to these places. Doesn't necessarily mean that they have the ability to come here. So what
right.
we have to be as good stewards of that access is being able to portray a great image and putting a good foot forward. I'll share this with you too. One of our friends went on the trip. Shout out to Ja, and she was tipping people with American money when she first got there, literally like giving them $1. One of our dollars is 20 South African rand. So by all accounts, one American dollar is a good tip over there, because it's customary. I think usually like 3 to 5 rand for tips. Just for like if you're buying a drink or something at a bar, or tipping a bellhop or something like that, 3 to 5 rand is customary. So she's giving them 20 rand, but she's giving them an American $1 bill. And she noticed that when she was tipping the dollar, people were like excited, like just like, oh wow, thank you so much. And then we had an experience. We went out, and she was trying to pay with it, and the restaurant wouldn't allow her to pay with American money because they don't convert. So you had to pay in rand or pay with your card. So I ended up getting rand, and then so the next day when she went back to the spot back to the spot where she was tipping them in dollars, she tipped them in rand, and they just said a simple thank you. And so she asked one of them, she was like, "Hey, quick question. How come when I was tipping American money, everybody was like really excited, and now that I'm tipping rand, and she was tipping the equivalent that she was giving them, it was just a simple thank you, still grateful and still appreciative, but it was just thank you." And the lady said, "Well, because a lot of us have never even seen American money, so the fact that you're giving it to us is more of a gift than a tip, because most of us are going to save that dollar just to say
Yeah,
that
we're
we
not
got
spending
it,
that.
and
We're
to
not spending
go, we're not going to spend it. We're going to go show it
it.
to our friends and our family to expose them
Yeah.
to this is what American money looks like, because most of them will never see it and probably never even get a chance to go
I
and go
think
to America to see it."
I think you bring up an excellent point, bro, in the fact that we all have to be ambassadors of culture, and specifically with one another, and understanding that culture, even amongst us, is diverse. And in order to truly immerse yourself in the full experience of being a African American person or a Black person, whatever you want to classify yourself and how you want to handle it, to each its own. But that is an experience in itself, and it matters most who you experience that with, right? And so you guys going there doing that, meeting good people. You talked about trusting people with your life, and that's real internationally, man. Like I'm here on your soil, but the fact that you can feel at home, but also create a sense of belonging where people would feel comfortable coming on our soil and spending time with us, I think it's important because I honestly don't think we do that enough amongst each other in our community. So my follow up to that would be, and you told a great story about Ja, but you took probably 20, 30 people on this trip, right? And so what did that do for you and your family personally in terms of resetting, connecting? Because a lot of people may not know, you do this thing called grounding. You might not even remember. I remember that. I know you take your shoes off, you go outside, you connect with the earth, you do these things. So how is that connecting a larger group of people with where our origins are actually from?
So for I didn't really ask myself this question until I got back. And I explained it to people while we were on the trip, especially my wife, and communicate with her. I was like, I was very high anxiety the entire time because I'm everybody's travel agent. I don't travel with my clients. Normally, my clients book somewhere. You've booked with me before. You go, you come back. I make sure everything is straight before you go. Plane tickets and hotel room is there. Long as you get in and you don't call me, nothing's wrong. I'm fine. But and so my anxiety is not that high. And then once everybody's back, but this time I'm traveling with people, so I'm literally, just worried like, okay, is everybody going to make the same connector? Because one of the blessings was we were all on the same direct flight from Atlanta straight to Cape Town. So we all met up in Atlanta. So, I got us, a little worried, like, is everybody gonna make it on time? Are we gonna make it on this flight together? Are we gonna get in? Now we're there. Is everybody gonna be able to check in with no issues? But the hotel was prepared. They already knew we were coming. Obviously, when we got there, they took us all in a conference room, had all of our stuff ready. They was like, "Hey, once we came in the door, everybody give me your passports. Okay, all right, y'all rooms are ready. Easy, straightforward process." And then so during the whole trip, I'm just making sure that everybody's happy. Is everything good? Is any issues? Because now I'm here, and as a travel agent, a lot of these things normally I would have to handle, remotely. But I'm here, but nothing is wrong. Nothing goes wrong. One or two small minor hiccups that was something on my end that I was able to fix very quickly, and dealing with the people there, it was a breeze. It wouldn't even be considered a problem. Um, but being able to experience the same thing that I experienced before through the vantage and the viewpoint of others was mesmerizing for me. Because we all created a WhatsApp group channel for us to communicate with each other while we were there and before and after the trip. And so every day, all day, while we were on these, all these excursions together, everybody would send their pictures, either while we were doing it or while we got to the hotel when we got on Wi-Fi and things of that nature. And so you're seeing everybody's perspective, and it's like, oh, we were all at the botanical gardens together, but your picture of this view and this angle is amazing. Oh, we were all at the safari together, but your picture of the elephant is just like, it's amazing. And so seeing everybody experience the same thing at the same time, but have equally amazing reactions to it is something that I would love to and plan to replicate that over and over again. And it helped me also kind of break down that myth of it's hard to get black folks to travel together. Because when I tell you I took a group of 29 people and nobody really knew each other beforehand, like this is not like my entire family. This is a group mixed of people that have common connections and common threads.
Yeah,
Uh,
I saw a couple of posts with God Mom and John, where they was like kindred spirits, and
Yeah,
like
and
they
that was
people
another
were
beautiful thing of seeing people, seeing
developing new
groups
bonds.
developing new bonds, new relationships, and seeing that and being able to foster that in a place like that, in an environment like
Yeah.
that. It was truly, honestly a magical experience. And I'll share this, and I think I shared it with you, but I'll share it with everybody else. Ave, my 4-year-old little girl, she asked me at one point, she was like, "Daddy, is this a dream?" And mind you,
Wow.
she's been there before, but her
She can
preschool
really
teacher.
she can experience it now. Like,
So look,
yeah,
her preschool teacher, her very first in-person teacher that she ever had in life, her and her fiance came on this trip. Um, Her godmother went on this trip. She one of Shan's best friends, Abe's godmother. She went on this trip. Ja went on this trip, which is somebody we mutually know. There were about four other people that went to Tuskegee. They were there at the same time I was there. You were gone by the time they got there, but they were on this trip, and they brought uh their parents, and then other friends and family and brothers. And so like, and then one of Shan's coworkers brought her mom, her dad, her sons, her sister, one of their friends. So it was like a hodgepodge group, if you will, of people. But then seeing those people create bonds and hang out, like, after the day and the excursion is done, where we don't have to be on the bus together. When you see the group of people that don't know each other sitting at the bar having a drink, and then like, okay, we go walk and have breakfast in the morning at this spot we found. Seeing that, man, it's like seeing that happen in that kind of place was magical. And it's a feeling that I don't take for granted. Is it That's part of the spiritual thing for me. When I told you a while back, I was like, it was spiritual. This time it was that. Like the first time it was kind of surreal. The first time I visited, it was kind of surreal. Like, I cannot believe this exists. It exists like this. And
and
I don't think
it's probably more beautiful than people even give it
it's
credit.
way, way
Yes.
more, man. And it has all of the things that we're used to. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to make it seem like it's paradise, but it's paradise. But the same way we got
Yeah.
paradise over here and it's a homeless man on the corner, it's the same thing there. But there's a lot of work possibility that can be done. And one of the things that really fascinated me with Cape Town, and I'll finish with this, is the parallels between Cape Town and America, and the plight of blacks in Cape Town in South Africa,
Right.
and the plight of black people in America are so similar and so parallel. And more of us need to study and learn about that and educate ourselves
Mhm.
on it, because that will be the catalyst for an amazing movement and an amazing amount of power. Because apartheid for them,
Yes.
which is the basically the same exact thing as what blacks
Segregations,
experienced:
red lines.
segregation,
Yeah.
redlining, Jim Crow, and all of that. That didn't end for them until 1994.
Now, you shared a story with me when you got back, and I'll give you two more, and I'll get you out of here, man. But you shared a story with me about the fact that people would go home at a certain time because they were uncomfortable being out after the sundown. That is crazy.
Six
Like
o'clock during apartheid
six.
at 6 p.m., blacks had to be in within the walls. And shout out to Tingo for really educating on this, because I saw all of this stuff before, but I didn't understand it. I just took it for what it was. Oh, the neighborhoods have walls and barbed wire around it in some places, and there's barbed wire and fences around everywhere. But the neighborhoods have a wall, a brick wall with barbed wire around all of the larger neighborhoods, the neighborhoods themselves. And that's because at 6 o'clock during apartheid, if you were black, you had to be within the walls, the confines of your neighborhood, or you were taken to jail.
That's crazy.
There was sundown law across, and this is across all of South Africa, the country. This is not just in Cape Town.
Right.
This is the entire country. So for me, it was, seeing that. And then now I understand why at 4 o'clock every day in the city, you see
Yes, things
a
start
mass
shutting down.
exodus of
Yeah.
people leaving town to get on the trains to head out to their townships and their neighborhoods before sundown. And it's because it's still ingrained in their culture. Even though apartheid has been over since 1994, the vast majority of them who were born and raised or lived through apartheid, or their parents lived through apartheid, they still hold to those things. You
I
know,
think that speaks to the I think that speaks to the psychology
exactly.
of how these things impact you for generations because what's that two plus generations removed and this is
Not even really two, if we're being real, because you think
yeah
about like
one and a half yeah.
we kids in '94.
And we was listening to B2K.
Exactly. I not B2K, not in '94. But
We was listening to
you know
B2K.
what I kept saying? And I
And
was saying
you
it
had an
jokingly.
album. You
I,
actually had an album in 2003.
I was saying it jokingly, but it was the truth. I was like, when apartheid ended, Snoop and Dre was dropping albums.
Bro, you ain't lying. Chronic. Yeah.
1994,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
would like that's when rap
Yeah.
and hip hop was really getting into its
Taking
thing,
taking
and they
off.
were just now. And I grew up and I've seen Nelson Mandela and understood what he did and all of that, but the time frame, I guess, really didn't click for me until
Yeah.
I'm here now in Cape Town and I see the
Hmm.
remnants and I see the psychology behind it and I see the economics behind it and I'm being told firsthand, you know, by someone who,
Has lived there and
has
experienced it.
lived there, experienced it, knows people that experienced it and is part of the culture. Um and so, it was that too in itself was one of those things, I think for me, I was like, Cape Town, South Africa and Cape Town specifically for me, I would say is an amazing introduction to the country, I mean, to the continent of Africa, in my personal
So
opinion.
I want to do this for you right here though. What you just did, I wasn't even going to pose the question because I didn't want to offend anyone. But it's very important that we understand that this is a continent and not a country.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a big misconception that happens when you really think about the landmass that is the motherland. We are talking about something that is inconceivable by some because of the way that history has remapped and rewrote things. So touch on that for me.
It takes 12 hours to fly from the top of Africa to the bottom of Africa. How do I know? Because the first time we went, we flew from Paris to Cape Town. That's a 14-hour flight. 2 of those hours are spent flying over Europe. The next 12 hours, you're flying essentially from Morocco down to almost the bottom because Cape Town is not the absolute southernmost point of Africa either. So it takes you a solid 12 to 13 hours to fly from top to bottom. That's how big that is. Now, it does not take you 12 hours to fly from New York to Cali. It
Right.
takes you 12 hours to fly from New York to Hawaii.
Yeah.
So that's how
With,
big
with a
Africa
layover.
is.
With a
Yeah,
layover.
that's with the
Yeah.
layover. So yeah, South Africa is it's important to note South Africa is a country that is part of Africa, the
Yeah.
continent.
That's right. I love that. I love that. I appreciate that from you. And then look, man, before we close out, I just want to do this. You you inspire a lot of people. You always have an encouraging word. If I get on social media, it's I love you. It's how y'all doing today? Let me check in with my five, typically around homecoming. We can start that a little early this year too. But the thing that I admire most, man, is you have always been one way, bro. You are one of the more authentic people that I know, man. And I love this for you that more people are seeing your authenticity. And I hope that it continues to attract all the good that the Most High has for you, bro. But I just want to say on behalf of everybody that you support and all the love that you put out there, man, we love you back, big dog. And it's a pleasure and a blessing to continue to be on this journey with you. But with that, man, we'll get you out of here and can't nobody wrap this up better than you. So with that, I'll turn it back to you. Wrap us up and we gone.
Hey man, I love and appreciate you and everybody else who does it for me. Um, this has been interesting. This has been
All right,
interesting
be
to
on
say
the
the
other
least,
side.
to be on the other side. Um, so we might do this more often. I don't know. We'll
I
see.
think we said it, man. I got a lot
Um,
of questions to ask you.
but it does me no disservice to try to to try to down somebody else or to look down on nobody else. My only goal is to make sure that myself and others around me are happy, and part of that is part of happiness is access and authenticity. Access and authenticity is I think what'll do it for everybody. So thank you for helping me, I guess get my thoughts and feelings out in a way to where, because honestly I've been wanting to like post, like put a put a Facebook post kind of
Yeah,
rapping and summing it up, and it's really hard to put it in the feelings and the words, just just typing it out, and then people gonna read it or whatever. So honestly for me this is kind of a release where I get to just kind of like blurt it
you
all
know.
out, and
Hey,
hopefully people can
your boy
feel it.
got a. I have a small suggestion for you. I'm gonna send you a link to a site, Tribute. Send that link to your WhatsApp group. Let them upload 30 to 90 seconds of their reflections from South Africa. Those uploads then go to Tribute,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, tribute, yeah, we did that.
yeah,
Yeah, we did that for a couple of the
yeah,
pandemic birthdays.
yeah, exactly.
Not a
So
bad idea. I
I
got you.
did it for my mother, bro.
Yeah.
My mom left it. So, but you can send that to the group, and that's something that they all have. And as a matter of fact, it'll be sponsored by Destrian Wells Consulting. So you send me the invoice, have them upload it, and we'll do it like that because I think these moments have to be captured because man, we're losing so many people and so much is happening in the world still. Post pandemic, so much is happening, but definitely capture these moments, man, because I don't think it'll be 30 people for long. I think you'll be taking thousands, and I'll be there with you, bro. I love you,
Hey,
dog.
I love you too, bro. What's crazy is I've been and it's not this is not to like boost me or nothing like that, but I really honestly been looking at it like I want to um and a lot of how stuff starts aligning for us where you have a conversation, then three more conversations similar in the same vein start happening. You be like, hold on, is this happening, or is this coincidence? But I really want to, really want to connect with a lot of other with other travel agents who are experienced with international travel, and I want to connect with tour guides across Africa, and I want to, kind of put Marcus Garvey's uh,
Yep.
theories and ideas into practice where we don't necessarily have to move back if you don't want to. That's not going to be for everybody, but I definitely want all of us to consistently and continually visit home, and experience it. Like I said, it's a continent. There are a hundred some countries in Africa, I think, just about.
Yep. Yep.
So you could pick any of them, and within those countries there are hundreds if not thousands of cities. So it's something for everybody there. But me personally, I definitely think that Cape Town, South Africa is a great introduction. It's a very modern city, has all of the amenities, the love, the culture, to get your interest really sparked. It's a long flight, but when I say it's worth it, it's worth it. So with that being said, appreciate you again, my brother, for
Yes,
having this
sir.
cocktail convo with me as
Yes,
me
sir.
interviewing me. But that's gonna do it for us here at the BREADren Podcast. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media at BREADren Pod. That's BREAD.
Because we what?
BREAD, because we always talking about bread and we always get into
Yeah.
that bread. It sounded
Yes.
like I didn't spell it right. I don't know why, but
You said it
hey,
right. I'm reading the
hey,
words in the background.
I look, and me not even noticing that I could just be reading off of a script. I don't even know it. But yeah, follow us at Bridger Podcast Series on all social media, at Bridger Pod on Instagram, Bridger Podcast Series on Facebook. Follow all of our illustrious fellow co-hosts. You can find Mr. Deshaun Wells at Empower, Engage, Execute at D Wells Consultant, Dr. Ajamu Lovin, PhD, CFP at Dr. Ajamu Lovin, and Lovin on Money and You on Facebook, and Miss Alicia Brandon of HBCU Pets, hbcupets.com. Go get you some. But like I said, it's going to do it for us here. We love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. We'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.